Luigi.
Little known fact about me. I love science. Not to a diehard level really, not to the point of getting super into like Star Trek or Doctor Who, but I do love sci-fi tropes. Time travel, robots, aliens, multiverses, these are some of the coolest things in fiction, if you ask me. And with that in mind, it only makes sense then that Professor E Gadd is one of my favorite characters in the Super Mario franchise. Maybe not my number one, but definitely top 5 material at least. If he showed up more, he'd probably be able to rise the ranks easily. Anyway, for the uninitiated, E Gadd, or Professor Elvin Gadd if you're of a lengthening mind, is a somewhat oddball scientist who specializes in paranormal research, ghosts. He made his first appearance in Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube, and has since made a number of appearances throughout the Super Mario franchise, among his most notable of those being future supporting appearances in the other Luigi's Mansion games, operating a board in Mario Party 6, and building the time machine integral to Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. But we're not here for that. He's a spirit in Smash Ultimate after all, so he'll get his time to shine as a character another day. No, today we're talking about all the various gizmos, gadgets, machines, and inventions that he's built throughout the franchise. While he shows up in about 18 games, he's managed to build over 30 different inventions all throughout, all of which with different functions and purposes, and all equally fascinating. So join me on my magical peanut butter powered sleigh. If you get this reference, you win. And join me as we go through E Gadd's entire catalog of inventions. To begin, we should jump straight into the most important, recognized, and iconic of E Gadd's accomplishments, the Poltergust series. Introduced with E Gadd in Luigi's Mansion 1, this line of gadgets consists of various different vacuum machines, each with different, oftentimes superior capabilities. These include the Poltergust 3000, the Super Poltergust 3001, the Poltergust 4000, the 5000 model, and of course the G00. So let's go over each one and their various uses and capabilities. Okay, so before we get into the big ones, we gotta talk about this thing. So when Luigi's Mansion came out, Nintendo released a flash game called Poltergusts, basically just billiards with a poltergust. Which interesting is in the how to play section, they call this thing the Poltergust 1000, suggesting it's one of the first, if not the first, of the Poltergust family. That said, it's never been shown or even mentioned in any media after this, so we never get to see if it's good for anything beyond janky pool. So yeah, with that little side note out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. The Poltergust 3000 was introduced in Luigi's Mansion and is the most basic of the main models. It can suck up ghosts and various other items like money and tablecloth, and it also has a blow function, which usually just lets it spit out dust. However, with an elemental metal, it can spew fire, water, or ice to deal with various elemental ghosts, and interact with numerous environmental hazards. And that's really it, actually. Like I said, it's a pretty simple little device, but reliable nonetheless. Although interestingly, exclusively to the European version's Hidden Mansion, Luigi can ride the Poltergust for his battle with Boolossus. Kind of a setup for some of the future models, I guess. For some more interesting tidbits, focusing on its beta elements, the 3000 was originally going to have a pressure meter that caused Luigi to burst into flames if it maxed out from overuse. This would later be reworked into a ghost counter before becoming the elemental gauge. It was also much bigger, blockier, and had different nozzles for ejecting dust and the elements. The Super Poltergust 3001 was the second Poltergust model we ever saw, and made its debut in, curiously, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. After the bros create a certain number of coffee blends at Starbean's Cafe, E Gadd, who owns the restaurant, rides in on the SP-3001. Despite having a vacuum nozzle, we never see it actually suck up any ghosts, and instead Gadd simply rides around on it like a rocket. That said, it's a very speedy little transport, so it's not a total waste. Regardless, the thing only shows up for that one moment, so there's not much else to really say on it. Third in the Poltergust family is the Poltergust 4000, introduced in Mario Kart DS. Like the 3001 model, the 4000 is primarily a vehicle, and despite the nozzle on its front, it isn't shown to be able to suck up other specters. E Gadd himself was planned to appear in Mario Kart DS with the 4000 as one of his carts, but he was cut and replaced with Dry Bones. As such, the 4000 was given to Luigi as one of his carts. It's also present in Mario Kart Tour, alongside an icy variant called the Ice Blue Poltergust, which is the signature kart of Penguin Luigi. Its stats have good speed, handling, and acceleration, though with low weight and drift, and is one of my favorite DS karts, I must say. Though again, nothing much to say beyond that. Fourth in line is the Poltergust 5000, introduced in Luigi's Mansion 2/Dark Moon, and named as such likely to help canonize the 4000 model from Mario Kart DS. This model returns to the classic ghost-catching roots with a swath of new features. Along with the suck and blow functions, though with no elemental abilities, it also has an upgraded flashlight with a new stroll bulb, allowing it to unleash a large burst of light to stun ghosts easier. It also has another attachment called the Dark Light device, allowing it to materialize objects hidden by spirit balls. However, it can overheat if the Dark Light is used too much. Finally, there's the Power Surge, which lets the 5000 charge up energy before dealing massive damage to ensnared spooks. It's not only useful for dealing with stronger ghosts, but it's also the only way to crack through certain shielded baddies. And if all that wasn't enough, the 5000 can be upgraded if Luigi can score enough cash. These will allow for stronger power surges, give the Dark Light more use before overheating, and finally upgrade it into the Super Poltergust, dealing faster damage to all enemies. As you can see, the 5000 is a massive step up from the 3000, improving its ghost-catching abilities and expanding its arsenal to make the job that much smoother and more fun. And while it has some drawbacks, it's just as reliable as the original was all those years ago. The final member of the Poltergust family is the Poltergust G00, used in Luigi's Mansion 3, even though it technically debuted in Smash Ultimate, but whatevs. This model is very similar to the 5000, but with various improvements. Along with the Suck, the Blow, Strobe Bulb, and Dark Light, this time with no overheating, it also has the Suction Shot, letting it blast plungers onto objects. These have ropes attached to them, letting Luigi grab and slap them around. Speaking of, the Slam replaces the Power Surge from the 5000 model, letting Luigi smash ghosts onto the floor or into each other to dish out extra damage. Though some items and enemies may prove too heavy for a single Luigi and requires help from a certain somebody who will be talked about a bit later. Finally, the G00 has the Burst ability, letting Luigi hop into the air for a brief moment. He can use it to dodge obstacles or scatter ghosts to try to gang up on him. Overall, the G00 is, as expected, the ultimate model of Poltergust, at least for now. This thing has every ability the 5000 had, with several new powers to explore the last resort even more efficiently. What's most interesting about this one, though, is the name. While the G00 is meant to tie into another invention, there's blueprints in E Gadd's room calling it the Poltergust 7000. As far as I was able to dig up, this hypothetical 6000 model that would exist between this and the Dark Moon Poltergust has never been seen or heard from before. It could be the Icy Blue Poltergust from Tour, or maybe even the G00 inspired kart from Mario Kart Home Circuit, but of course none of this has ever been confirmed. With the Poltergusts done, let's talk about the other inventions introduced in the Luigi's Mansion series, starting with the Game Boy Horror. The Horror was based off the Game Boy Color, specifically the clear color variant that was only released in Japan. This gadget offers several services to help Luigi on his adventure. It has a full map of the mansion with tallies and infos on the treasure that you have collected, and the portrait ghosts that you've recovered. It can also enter first-person view, letting Luigi analyze and make quips about various objects and get hints to defeat portrait ghosts. It can even scan mirrors to warp Luigi back to the mansion's foyer for fast travel purposes. Even better, it has a built-in boo radar to help find the boos after they've been unleashed upon the mansion. A larger version is even present in Superstar Saga, where E Gadd uses it to contact the bros twice and even demonstrates new teleportation technology during the second usage. Overall, extremely useful tool to have in any ghost-busting situation. The other invention seen in the original mansion is the excellently named Ghost Portrificationizer. This complex machine lets one take ghosts and turn them into portrait paintings, or vice versa if you want, for some reason. I don't know why you'd want to, but to each their own. E Gadd used this thing to collect and contain 22 different ghosts as portraits, only for King Boo, angered at his capture of ghost number 22, Boolossus, to ransack his lab and free all of the portrait ghosts. They then built and hid inside of the titular Luigi's mansion, leading to the events of the game. At the end of each area, Luigi sends the ghost back through the machine to repaintingify them, and frees Mario with its reverse feature. Afterwards, it was never seen again, though it was briefly mentioned in Dark Moon. Speaking of Dark Moon introduced a number of new inventions and devices made by E Gadd. First of all is the Pixelator, the main transport device of the game. This gizmo was able to zap a target, turning them into pixels, and transport them across electric signals before spinning them somewhere else. The machine makes use of cameras to send Luigi throughout the mansions, as well as prototype Pixelator screens, which are used to help save the Toad lab assistants. A single Pixelator screen also shows up in the 3DS remake, still under construction, and in 3, where it's used to quickly teleport to E Gadd's lab and back again. Next, there are a number of smaller-scale Dark Moon inventions seen only in E Gadd's bunker, the game's main level selection area. Firstly, there's the vault, where all the goodies go when Luigi has completed a mission. There, Luigi can find the ghost container, where all the generic spooks are stored, and the Boo canister, a special cell for the Boo army. There's also 2 additional screens to showcase the gems and unlockables. Then there's an invention that goes unnamed in the game, but is very useful as it can clean the Dark Moon pieces of the evil energy they're contaminated in, unlocking new mansions to explore and find more pieces in. Finally is the Periscope, a device that we never actually see but plays an important role. This thing can detect ghosts and Dark Moon pieces and can be fine-tuned to be more accurate as more pieces are found and stronger ghosts captured. However, it can only detect paranormal objects, which can prove to be problematic when searching for non-ethereal items. Going back to Luigi's arsenal though, like the original, E Gadd provides Luigi a handheld communicator/map. This one is designed after the Nintendo DS and is appropriately named the Dual Screen, a play on the Nintendo DS's name, the Dual Screen. It doesn't track the treasure you've collected, but it still provides a map, this time always available on the game's bottom screen. It also displays current objectives, and is used by E Gadd to contact Luigi during his missions. Overall, it's about as helpful as the Game Boy Horror, which is to say, very much so. Finally, there's the E-Gates, teleportation devices introduced in Dark Moon's 4th mansion, Secret Mine. These let Luigi teleport from one area to another, offering shortcuts and passage across treacherous terrain. They're also found in Treacherous Mansion, being used as a fast travel between all the various rooms within this mansion, which is good given how extremely big it is and how extremely, pressure-filled its later missions can be. All in all, Dark Moon has probably the largest and most varied list of E Gadd inventions, many of which are used to help facilitate the gameplay and story in various fun and interesting ways. Moving to Luigi's Mansion 3, beyond the G00, E Gadd has an all-new lab. This one can be compressed into a smaller form for transport, then unfurled into a full base of operations. Here, Luigi can talk to E Gadd, view the map, check the ghosts, boos, and gems he's collected, change settings, access the Scarescraper and Scream Park, and even access a shop to purchase items to help him further. It also has a Pixelator screen Luigi can use to pop back in and out if need be from wherever he is in the mansion. It's also where the Toads hide out after being rescued by Luigi. Really, it's about what you'd expect from the Professor's lab, but still interesting in how it can be made portable. Kinda like the Switch itself? Upon setting up the lab, E Gadd also provides Luigi with this game's comms unit, the Virtual Boo. Based on the Virtual Boy, this thing offers all the same features the Dual Screen did. There's a map, a communicator, settings, objectives, and so forth. All this intel is, of course, displayed in a tasteful red and black, and E Gadd expresses excitement at selling them, which is extraordinarily amusing for a variety of reasons, of course. Related to this is the elevator tracker, which maps out each floor from the elevator and syncs the info to the VB, providing the maps that the VB displays. But of course, all of this pales in comparison to the greatest thing invented in this game, Gooigi. Now, Gooigi's creation is actually the most well-documented of E Gadd's inventions. For you see, during the lead-up to the release of both Mansion 3 and the 3DS remake, Professor E Gadd's research journal was released and updated on Nintendo's website, showing how Gooigi was created. To summarize these events, during the events of Dark Moon, Gadd spills some coffee into a vial of ghost energy, creating a substance called goo. Gadd researched goo and decided to make use of it in catching ghosts, feeding it Luigi's biological data to make him take human shape. He then sent him back in time, a nice callback to Partners in Time perhaps, to the events of the first game to help catch ghosts as training, leading to the 3DS remake's multiplayer mode. Finally, Gadd recalls Gooigi from the past, takes stock of the ghosts he's caught, and uses them to give Gooigi his unique powers, completing him at long last. I'll be sure to link the journal in the description if you want to read it yourself. It's really cool and fascinating. Anyway, with the backstory done, what can Gooigi do? Well, firstly, he can move just like Luigi, with a fully functional replica of the Poltergust G00. As such, he can do everything Luigi can. Suck, blow, strobe bulb, slam, suction shot, dark light, burst. And if he teams up with Luigi, they can slam heavier objects just one couldn't. However, since he's made of slime, he can pass through bars, grates, and pipes to access new areas and find secrets. However, he can't open doors, and melts on contact with either water or fire. He also has less health than Luigi, but he can revive and can be pulled in and out of the gameplay at any time. And, most importantly of all, he lets us play Luigi's Mansion Story Mode, with 2 players. Truly, he is God's gift to man. With all the Luigi's Mansion games done, let's talk about E Gadd's only appearance in the main Super Mario games, Super Mario Sunshine. Now, technically, he doesn't show up actually within the game, but 2 of his inventions play extremely major roles in the game's story. Firstly is F.L.U.D, short for Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dousing Device. This device is effectively a water pump able to be worn as a backpack. It can spray water to clean up the graffiti plaguing Isle Delfino, and comes with 4 equipable nozzles. There's the squirt nozzle, the default water gusher, the hover nozzle, letting Mario hover in the air to cross gaps and correct jumps, the rocket nozzle to blast upward, and the turbo nozzle to zip across areas at lightning speed. F.L.U.D also has his own AI, letting him interact with Mario and provide advice at certain points. However, he's only been shown speaking in this game and is mute in all his future appearances. Speaking of, while this was his only major appearance, several devices resembling him have appeared, including the water, fire, and zap shooters from the Galaxy games, the water pumps from Power Tennis, and the pump item from Mario Kart Arcade. F.L.U.D himself is also in every Smash game since Brawl as Mario's down special. Whether all these F.L.U.D lookalikes were also built by Gadd is unknown, but we do know F.L.U.D was made by him as he has Gadd's emblem on his neck, and introduces himself as one of the inventions from Gadd Science Incorporated. Second of E Gadd's Sunshine contributions is the Magic Paintbrush. This item is used by Bowser Jr. to cover the island in colorful sludge, create dozens of minions, and transform into Shadow Mario to pin it all on Mario himself. According to Jr., E Gadd gave it to him, though I'd more so expect that he stole it from him. Regardless, this goop is luckily able to be cleared out by F.L.U.D, and it is able to take on several colors and attributes like fire and electricity to make Mario's job that much harder. What's interesting is if you beat the final boss with less than 120 shines, you see that Jr. apparently lost the brush only for it to be found by Il Piantissimo and Gelato Beach. Regardless, this plot point has never been brought up again, and Jr. continues to use this thing in several future appearances, especially during the GameCube and Wii era. To list off a few, there's Power Tennis, Hoops 3-on-3, Sports Mix, Super Sluggers, Dream Team, World Tour, Sports Superstars, and it's even present as an item in all 3 Mario Kart arcade games, where it's called the Mustache Pen for some reason. What the hell? Jr. and the Koopalings also used it in Smash Bros. For their final Smash, this one using a different, evil version of E Gadd's emblem. This emblem was changed again for Super Nintendo World's artwork, as well as Bowser's Fury, where it now shows Jr.'s emblem on it instead. Which is fair. At this point in the franchise, I highly doubt anyone remembers that it was E Gadd who made it. It really is just Jr.'s property at this point. Moving into the Mario and Luigi series now, Superstar Saga introduces Starbean's Cafe, a coffee shop owned by E Gadd to assist in funding his ghost research. He also built the Bean Bean machine, which Mario and Luigi can use to mix various beans they find in the brews. These coffees permanently boost your stats, such as HP, speed, or power. Your first time brewing each will also net you a visit by E Gadd, who will provide various items for each of the brews. Each of these items were originally supposed to be handed out by various other Nintendo characters, like Fox, Link, Samus, Olimar, and Wario. In the final game, though, he claims to have built them all, thus meaning that I guess we have to cover them. There's the Greed Wallet, which doubles your coins payout, the Bonus Ring, which gives you more EXP if you don't lose health, there's the Excite Spring, which lets you float while dodging, the Great Force, which doubles the damage you give and take. Exclusive to the original is the Power Grip, which lets you hold the hammer infinitely while dodging, and the remake has the Secret Specs, letting you see hidden blocks. Finally, there's the Cobalt Necktie, which doubles your stash points, and the Game Boy Horror SP, which grants you guaranteed rare items. Finally, the last invention we haven't mentioned is the Gown, which lets its wearer become a ghost. E Gadd arrives wearing it while testing out the Bros' 6th blend, and a terrified Luigi uses the Poltergust to suck up the poor prof. Beyond this humorous interaction, though, we've never seen hide nor hair of this thing since. Meanwhile, over in Mario & Luigi Partners in Time, E Gadd's inventions play an extremely major role, starting with his very own time machine. As you'd expect, it allows one to travel through time, by opening up time holes connecting 2 points in time. It's also powered by the Cobalt Star, but beyond that we don't really learn much about its inner workings, though its main control console could apparently be seen in a microsite at the game's release. After Peach uses it to travel into the past, she gets stranded during the Shroob invasion, and a junior Shrooboid commandeers the time machine to travel back to the present. After beating it, the time machine is wrecked and rendered useless for most of the game. At the end, though, it's repaired and re-energized with the time holes to send the Baby Bros and the rest of the past cast back home. It's also possible that its tech, or the experience E Gadd gained from building it, would help him send Gooigi to the past in Luigi's Mansion 3DS. After the Shrooboid was defeated, E Gadd also uses one of his other inventions to determine where Peach is, the DS Time Radar. This is, evidently, a radar to determine where people and objects sent through time are, and is modeled after the DS, very much like the Dual Scream was. It was also used to activate the Hydro Gush, but beyond that, it doesn't actually get a whole lot of use in this game, strangely enough. Upon arriving in the past, Mario and Luigi are joined by another one of E Gadd's machines, Stuffwell. Stuffwell was a living suitcase who acts as the duo's partner as they travel the past. He acts as a pause screen and keeps track of the Bros' stats, equipment, and items. He also has an AI much like F.L.U.D, and will use large and complex words when chatting with them. At the end of the game, he can also use his Warpulator to transport the Bros back to the point of no return, so you can go back and grab any items or level up grind if you missed anything. His purpose is rather straightforward, but still very helpful, if a bit obnoxious with his vocabulary. Finally, there's the invention that ties it all together, the Hydro Gush 4000. In the past, Mario and Co. stumble upon a younger E Gadd. Said E Gadd sees Baby Mario put out a fire, which inspires his future self to build a giant water dispersal machine. He christens it the Hydro Gush 4000 and pipes its water through a time hole to his past lab in Thwomp Volcano, extinguishing the flames and rendering the volcano dormant. Past E Gadd's lab was torched, but it did inspire him to move to Boo Woods, setting the stage for Luigi's Mansion. At the end of the game, when it's revealed baby tears can destroy the Shroobs, E Gadd uses the Hydro Gush again to pipe liquid with a similar composition through the time holes, and purge the past of the Shroob infection. Of particular note is the machine's design, which is heavily based on and likely a direct reference to F.L.U.D, which makes sense given their similar functions. A final major set of E Gadd's inventions are found in the Mario Party series, starting with Mario Party 4. While E Gadd isn't present, one of the new items is called the Gadd Light. Similar to the Boo Repellent from Party 3, the Gadd Light will protect its holder from a single Boo thievery attempt. Now, technically, it's never been confirmed that this thing was made by E Gadd, given that it lacks the symbol seen on most of his other inventions. However, it seems named after him in English, and follows the German naming scheme that the Poltergust 3000 and F.L.U.D use. In Mario Party 5, the professor still doesn't appear, but he was the creator of the E Gadd machine found in Super Duel mode. This mode, based around vehicular combat, lets you customize battle machines with various bodies, wheels, engines, and weapons. E Gadd has built one of each, and when assembled, they produce one of, if not the strongest machine in the game. Its body and engine offer all-around yet powerful stats, the jet sled flows across any terrain, and its weapon fires heat-seeking missiles that chase opponents. Basically, it's the best vehicle, no contest. In Mario Party 6, not only does E Gadd get to finally show up, but he also gets a whole board dedicated to him in the form of E Gadd's garage. This board is a giant laboratory stuffed to bursting with all kinds of machines and gizmos we never see again. As far as gimmicks are concerned, there are 3 teleporters that you can use to move around the board, the wealth suckage apparatus, which steals coins, the calamity launcher, which launches up to 5 orbs around the board for coins, and a machine that serves different purposes depending on the time of day. During the day, it's the Shufflotron, letting you spend all your orbs to turn them into new orbs. At night, it's the Orb Morpher, selling all of your orbs for raw coinage. As for the other small gadgets, none of them seem to get any names and merely serve as set dressing for the level, really. On top of all that, though, E Gadd is the host of a single-player minigame called Lab Brats, which centers on this invention, the Maze Manufactory. The device is able to create various complex mazes, and E Gadd challenges the player to solve the mazes and save the characters lost in them. There are 5 mazes, and you have 5 minutes to navigate them all to the end. There's also 1 character per maze: Penguin, Ukiki, Koopa, Goomba, and Shy Guy, and while they aren't needed to escape, finding and helping them will raise your rank. There are 16 different ranks you can earn, with 16 being the best and 1 being the worst. Being a rare minigame, you'll need to play solo mode to unlock it as well. Surprisingly enough, E Gadd is even present in Mario Party Advance, where he's the inventor of the Gaddgets. These things are unlockable little micro-games, impossible to lose and sometimes requiring very minimal interaction. They can be bought, rewarded for completing side quests, or won through Bowser's minigames. In total, there are 61... No, I did not stutter, I'm not pulling your chain, there are in fact 61 of them. So it goes without saying that really only a grade A sociopathic masochist would try to list them out and showcase some of their gameplay.
I'm a fatality.
Snooze use. Just count the sheep until you fall asleep. Poltergust. Use the control pad to catch ghosts. Magic lamp. Rub it to make a genie appear. Compadicom. Measure your compatibility with others. Power star. Shows a power star and literally nothing else. Desktop golf. A single hole golf game. Shroom slide. I don't understand this one. Stick to it. Watch a stick fall in one of 4 ways. Bait and wait. Fishing minigame. Digitizer. Take funny x-rays of your finger. Lip sync. Make various characters say slurs. Shroom bloom. Grow a mushroom. Poochie Pal. A day in the life of Poochie. Bullseye. Toss darts. Soil sonar. Explore deep underground. Eye exam. Test your vision. Mini slugger. 2-player baseball. Tap tap sumo. 2-player sumo wrestling. Egg roll. Roll an egg until it's upright. Shroom drop. Drop mushrooms through gaps with friends. Morse maker. Translate messages to Morse code. 4P pinball. Pinball with 4 players. Snow globe. Just a snow globe. Tile trial. I fucking hate these puzzles. Oh my god, I would like to burn them. I want to find who made them and just take his little neck. And map maker. Create treasure maps. Attack frog. 4-player frog feasting. Mini maze. A non-interactive maze. Faux flame. Light a fire. Stress press. Smash stuff. Bomb game. Disarm the bomb or die. Card trick. Select cards or something. Hourglass. 3 hourglasses. Rochambeau. Practice your rock, paper, scissors skills. Egg panic. Fill the bag with eggs without ripping it. Block punch. Whoever breaks the block wins. Dart attack. 4-player dart toss. Breeze buddy. A fan. I'm not a fan. Chicken race. Sketch which car will get the closest without falling. Love me not. She loves me not. Mini bowling. Bowling but smaller. Mini b-ball. Basketball but smaller. Screen clean. Clean your GBA screen from the inside. Predictotron. Rock, paper, scissors predictor. Cake maker. Make a cake. Mini soccer. Soccer but smaller. Dessert menu. Select food to make a dessert. Bead machine. Make a bead chain design. Jewelry case. Look at jewelry. Castle knight. A glowing knight in the Mushroom Kingdom. Hope chest. Lock a lid and have someone else open it. Pretty poster. A pretty poster. Sun poster. A sun sun poster, moon poster, a moon poster, coin poster, a coin poster, heart poster, a heart poster, Bowser poster, a Bowser poster, Bowser print, Bowser's handprint, bonus track, a bonus music track, Passport Plus to make a bunch of passports, Toad Force V, play with the Toad Force V action figure, and the credits. View the credits, which I think implies that E Gadd made the game itself. So that's every E Gadd, that's every gadget, all of which presumably built by E Gadd. As you can see, these barely qualify as mini-games, even calling them micro-games is a bit of a stretch for some of them. But I guess they're an okay overall distraction. Finally, there's Mario Party 7, which thankfully only showcased 2 inventions. First is the Magic Orb, a magic wand that only Boo and Drybones can use. When used, it doubles your dice block roll and turns you invisible, so you can bypass any traps in your way. It even lasts for 2 turns, very useful. Second is the Vacuum Orb, which can only be used by Wario and Waluigi. This item lets you steal a number of coins from each player, with said number being chosen via roulette. Also very helpful, of course. Both items can be identified as E Gadd machines as they both bear his company logo. The Vacuum Orb also bears a slight resemblance to F.L.U.D, much like the Hydro-Gush did. Finally, we have the Mario Kart series, where, beyond the Poltergust 4000, there is one other machine to speak about. Robo Mario. This mechanical Mario mockery was introduced in Mario Kart Arcade GP as a rival for a challenge game in the Rainbow Cup. A black model is fought in the regular cup, and a silver model appears in the special cup. Both are fought the same way. You must beat them in a race. The catch is that there are 0 item boxes for you, yet the clunker gets infinite items to hurl at you. Banana peels for when you're behind, and shells for when you're ahead. As such, you'll need all your arcade racer skills to beat him and win the special cup. He's also present in GB2 in literally the exact same role. And that is every single invention ever made by Professor Elvin Gadd. And E Gadd was there a lot. If I missed any, I apologize, but I stopped caring after I listed off all the gadgets. Regardless, this was a fun romp through several different Mario series that E Gadd has hands in, and I hope that after this, you can appreciate E Gadd's many contributions to the Mario universe, paranormal and otherwise. It's kind of a shame that E Gadd has been reduced to just appearing in Luigi's Mansion games, but I hope that one day you could at least get into Mario Kart. If Dixie and Poochie could, then why can't he, man?